America. I am looking at what they call a SHOT, an incident report for Joe. And I'm going to invite a few people here to help me share and add things. But we are not free. We are slaves. There's no more compassion. It's just pure evil. I am disgusted right now. Okay. So this incident report that I have for Joe, my camera might be kind of fuzzy, so I'm going to go over this. So let me go back to November 2nd. That evening, I got a phone call from Joe telling me that he passed out in his counselor's office. They didn't do any medical treatment. He didn't go to a hospital. His heart was skipping beats. He was feeling weak. He thinks it was a second stroke. He thinks he wasn't doing good. So on November 2nd, Ollie and I called the Jefferson County Sheriffs because Joe said he was fearing for his life, and we reported this. And we do have a sheriff's report. So to me, this was an emergency medical situation about Joe. The following day, on November 3rd, I was on the phone with Senator Cory Gardner's staff member, Ryan, and we were trying to get how we help Joe if he can't get the legal mail out with the privacy form, or how do we, what do we do? And that staff member was asking how they could talk to Joe, because Joe had tried to put Senator Cory Gardner's Fort Collins office on his call list, and the prison wouldn't let him. Carrie was also on this phone call. At the time, none of us knew, including Joe, that this was not okay. But Joe happened to call right when Ryan was asking, hey, how do we talk to Joe? Do I go through his counselor? What do I do? So I have this whole entire thing recorded. So in this incident report, some of the wording in here concerns me because I have a recording and they obviously have a recording. And if those words are not matching up, I think that's a big problem. So this call was on November 3rd. They did not bring it to Joe's attention that it wasn't okay until the Monday or Tuesday after Veterans Day. So over 2 weeks later, okay? He immediately got punished. No phone calls, no commissary except for stamps and hygiene, and no computer access. So he's already punished. They had a hearing on December 14th, 2016. Joe said he didn't have his hearing aids. It was on a TV screen. And I guess my biggest problem with this is I knew Joe was in trouble for this call. So I emailed the warden and I sent several copies of letters to Joe copying the warden so he could use my testimony about what happened and my apology to the facility for breaking their rule about three-way calls. Okay? To me, this is a one-off situation, though, because we had a senator's office on there asking to talk to Joe. Joe had just suffered a major medical issue the day before. He was saying that he was confused. He was saying that it's hard to concentrate. If it was a stroke or heart attack or seizure or whatever medical issue it could be, he's 77 years old. Where the hell is the compassion? If your grandmother or grandfather didn't hear something or was slow and confused, wouldn't you have compassion? Where is the compassion? So here's my big concern in this report. One of the first things it says, the inmate stated he understood his right not to submit documentary evidence. I sent several letters and I emailed the warden and I faxed. I actually believe I did fax that too to the FCI Inglewood facility weeks before this hearing to ensure that Joe had a witness, because they also ask, was any witnesses called? And they say no. Was any evidence presented? They say no. So what Joe's defense to this is he wasn't hearing very well. There was a lot of other people in the phone room with him, and he heard out of my mouth that we were in the senator's office. So he thought we were in the office. He didn't know it was a three-way call. Their wording in here, it's mind-boggling, because they cherry-picked what they wanted to put. And again, I have this call recorded, so I know what was said by Joe, by Ryan, and by his wife Carrie, and myself. They have my name, Lindsay Szymanski, listed in here with my phone number. They have Corey Gardner's office listed in here, not the staff member's name. They chose to just say, sorry, my dog's whining. Dixie, hush. They tried to say, let's see, sorry, it's kind of hard to read. It's real small print, so I can imagine Joe trying to read this right now with his double vision, because, oh. Okay, so basically they're saying there was a female on the phone who said that they were on the phone with Corey Gardner's office and Carrie right now. Joe went on to talk about legal mail and his medical issues. There was a first female voice, which I guess is me, and a second female voice, which is Carrie. Oh, they do have Ryan's name in this one sentence here. And this is the part that I don't get. So I got a letter from Joe, and this probably should have went into my house a couple weeks ago. And this one doesn't necessarily have a date on it, but it basically is talking about his visitor list. So it says, no visitors at all in 6 months. On 11/23/2016, I only see Jim on my list. 12/16/2016, they added wife over 3 weeks late, and in parentheses, he has altered. This incident report is dated the 14th, or the hearing is dated the 14th of December. I know it's probably blurry. Sorry, guys. I might take pictures of this and get them out, because. So in this one part, the person who reviewed this, because Joe said, okay, I thought they were in the counselor's office, or in the senator's office, and I thought that my wife might be in Colorado to come visit me, because again, he had that medical issue the day before. So that's why Joe was just like, well, I'm going to talk to him. He didn't understand that it was a three-way phone call. So they put in here, in reviewing the content of the call, it appears Mr. Robertson was notified in the beginning of the call, that it was other parties on the call, and that the call was going to be recorded, because I said I was going to record it. So then he went through and said something about the visitor list, and said that they checked the visitor list and saw that Mr. Robertson did not have any visitors on his list, and his wife was not on his visitor list. No one was on his visitor list. Well, his letter's saying that Jim's been on there since November 23rd, but he just found that out. So my opinion is we just caught them in a little lie. Because if they really checked the list for this hearing, they would have seen that Jim has been on there since November. Okay, so I'm going to flip this around real quick. Okay, you guys get to see my face expression while I get through the rest of the bad, and then I got some good news. Okay, so on this incident report, he wrote down some of the guards in there told him in front of his cellmates that he's going to get moved to Florence, Colorado, the high maximum security prison. And then he also restates if he does the interview with CBS, they're going to move him. They're going to ship him out. He says in here, I need to get out of here. I need to get home. I don't know how long I'm going to make it. He also says in here that, sorry guys. He also says in here that he got a letter from supporters. He loves you guys. Thank you so much. Sylvia from Canada, thank you. And so he said he's really happy that they gave him a cane because his right knee is blown out and his left knee isn't very good. So he has not seen a doctor that we know of, but he was sent out for an x-ray and he only saw an x-ray tech. So maybe that's because of the knee. He said he was walking up a ramp with his laundry and a blanket and he hurt his knee. He heard he's got a herniated disc, and I can't even imagine having hurt knees and hurt back. And you're 77 years old. He's going to be 78 in February. Come on, where's the compassion? And that he's really upset about having to walk up and down stairs. This was in another letter I got, but it kind of goes along with his knee hurting and his back and his cane. Whenever he does have to go to medical, he has to walk up 3 flights of stairs and back down 3 flights of stairs. And he's having a very hard time with that. See. Okay, so for the good, funny parts is he got to feed the goose again. He got to go outside, and it seems like he likes feeding the goose. And another good thing is they are calling me a hero in here. They heard you on an AM station. They said you kick butt. So his friends in there heard me on the AM radio shows. So that's cool. Because now they're like, whoa, Joe's story's on the radio. And he's been doing a yoga class and meditation. And let's see. I'm going to look through the comments here and see if you guys have any questions. Why are we treating an old man like this? A vet, a Navy vet. Why are we allowing this to happen? I don't understand, you guys. It's just evil. So this whole call campaign and email campaign and making the contacts for Joe, I've been asking for months for that. I think we really need to step up the game on that. Please put in hashtag Free Joe Robertson, search it, it'll pull everything up, or I'll put the page at the top of this video. Check the daily calls to action, take the 15 minutes, send an email, write a letter. What if this was your grandpa? I mean, I helped my mom with hospice for my grandma for years, and I can't imagine my grandma being treated like this. I don't understand why we're allowing this to happen. This whole phone call thing, okay, so first of all, he's in prison for what? Why is Joe Robertson in prison? Because he built a pond. Because of water, okay? Here's why they consider the three-way call such a danger. The action of the part of the inmate to use the phone in an unauthorized manner poses a serious threat to the ability of the staff to control the use of the phone calls and monitor whether inmates make calls or prohibit illegal purposes as indicated. The use of telephone is a privilege, and the inmate may contact their family and maintain ties with them. It's not for criminal use. How in the heck is talking to a senator's office, his wife, and his friend a criminal offense? The inmate knows that he and he alone was held responsible for his actions at all times. So he's new to this prison. He's been there since September. Someone who's never been in prison. He's 77 years old. And they have these rules. Can you imagine being 77 years old and having to remember all the rules? It was a one-time mistake. And he did have evidence, and he did have a witness. He had myself, and he did have written letters and documentation about what happened, and they did not allow that in this hearing. And this is actual paperwork from Discipline Hearing Officer Report, U.S. Department of Justice, Prisons. So, what are we going to do, guys? What more is it going to take? I don't quite understand. Now he's isolated. Everything's through snail mail. He's wanting to do an appeal on this, but he's not sure that they gave him the paperwork within the 20 days to do the appeal. So he's asking if we can figure out how we out here can help get him an extension on this. And, his cold is back, and the letter I got last time said his cold was a little bit better, and now he says it's back. But he was able to get cough drops, and he was able to get some new glasses to help with the double vision, I guess. And sorry, I'm kind of jumping all over the place. I'm so angry right now. I don't know what else it's gonna take, you guys. All right. Well, I'll try and take some pictures of what I think should be public on here. I don't want to give anybody's personal info out and stuff like that, but we need to step up the game on contacting elected officials for sure. This is absolutely not okay. And because of this incident report, because of this piece of paper with what I am seeing as not accurate information, for one, because again, I have that call recorded too. And the whole visitor list and the dates, that doesn't make sense to me. Joe got 28 days added to his sentence. And them threatening to ship him off in front of the other inmates. And if he does an interview with the media. And Florence, Colorado, and doing the maximum security facility for, let's see, he built a pond. He had a first trial and there was a hung jury. Then he had a second trial. Then he got moved around 5 times till he ended up here. He has major medical issues. He's 77 years old. And because of this phone call and because of talking to, again, a senator's office who was asking to talk to him, how they could talk to him, major medical issue the day before. We're all in emergency mode of how do we help Joe. And his wife and me. Okay? How is that criminal? And why would that warrant them moving him to a maximum security prison? That's for murderers. That's for rapists. That's for people who do really, really bad things. Not for men who stood and put a pond on his property and had the permits from the state of Montana for water. Someone is being abused and neglected because of water. Doesn't matter how it ends, it matters how you stand, and I sure hope more people start standing. This should shock people. This should really, really shock people and get people's motivation up, because one day it will be you. I promise you. If we don't stop this, you guys, it's going to be you. For 2 seconds, think, what if this was my grandpa? What would I be doing right now? Step up our game, guys. This is absolutely ridiculous. Take care. Let's pray a lot. And we have other good things in the work on my page. Go to the other videos, get updates on Joe. This was kind of a rant, but I am angry after reading this. Taylor's office. They didn't do any medical treatment. He didn't go to a hospital. His heart was skipping beats. He was feeling weak. He thinks it was a second stroke. He thinks he wasn't doing good. So on November 2nd, Ollie and I called the Jefferson County Sheriffs because Joe said he was fearing for his life, and we reported this. And we do have a sheriff's report. So to me, this was a emergency medical situation about Joe. Hi, America. I am looking at what they call a SHOT, an incident report for Joe. And I'm going to invite a few people here to help me share and add things. But we are not free. We are slaves. And the prison wouldn't let him. Carrie was also on this phone call. At the time, none of us knew, including Joe, that this was not okay. But Joe happened to call right when Ryan was asking, hey, how do we talk to Joe? Do I go through his counselor? What do I do? So I have this whole entire thing recorded. So in this incident report, some of the wording in here concerns me because I have a recording and they obviously have a recording. There's no more compassion. It's just pure evil. I am disgusted right now. Okay. So this incident report that I have for Joe, my camera might be kind of fuzzy, so I'm going to go over this. So let me go back to November 2nd. That evening, I got a phone call from Joe telling me that he passed out in his counselor. The following day, on November 3rd, I was on the phone with Senator Cory Gardner's staff member, Ryan, and we were trying to get how we help Joe if he can't get the legal mail out with the privacy form, or how do we, what do we do? And that staff member was asking how they could talk to Joe, because Joe had tried to put Senator Cory Gardner's Fort Collins office on his call list.